Hello, folks. Good evening. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. Disturbing misconduct claims about former Forestries Minister in South Africa, Dion coming out today in News 24. Claims that he is guilty of sexual misconduct and taking excessive numbers of trips. It all seems a bit too convenient, wouldn't you say? So former Environment, Forestry, and Fisheries Minister Dion is facing a litany of allegations about his time in office, none of which previously surfaced during his 14 months. Why are they suddenly all coming out now? Is this to explain why they got rid of him? There are claims that during his 14 months in office, he was accused of sexual misconduct, including bragging about being well endowed and explicitly recounting his past sexual encounters. Well, that's not sexual misconduct. That might be sexual harassment, but it's not sexual misconduct. There's a clear distinction there. Whatever the case is, if it's true, it's highly inappropriate. It begs the question, what kind of vetting does the Democratic Alliance do, particularly for its ministers? Now, sources confirm several claims reported by weekend publications that he was fond of expensive flights and luxury hotel stays, while he apparently joked with stakeholders that he wasn't even qualified for the job. So if he wasn't qualified for the job, why did the DA put him in that position? Now, they claim he took 12 international trips since his appointment in June of 2024. Arguably, though, in 12 months, if he's the Minister of Forestries and things like that, doesn't he have international responsibilities? I'm not trying to say it's right or wrong. Also, they say he refused to stay in his official home in Pretoria because it didn't meet his standards. Okay, we need more information to talk about that. And that his deputies, Bernice Swartz and Narang Sang, often spoke over him. Well, that speaks more about their conduct than his, and it may perhaps his inability to lead. But two highly placed sources in the department detailed the allegations. They spoke on condition of anonymity for fear of victimization. One alleged he's useless. He's done nothing for the department. Our department is falling apart. Now, these sources, are they ANC sources? Are they DA sources? It'd be interesting to know. He's been on so many international flights. He's never in the office. He's not approachable. The deputy minister speaks over him. Now, another source in the department said he made several highly inappropriate jokes in the company of stakeholders. Inappropriate sexual misconduct, allegedly getting changed while alone in a room with a staff member without warning. Well, that could be a problem, yes. Graphic recounting of sexual encounters in the past, bragging about his endowment, even in front of female staff. Interesting that these are only now coming out. DA leader John Steenhuisen, through his spokesperson, Charity McCord, said the former employee of George did approach him with a list of allegations against the minister. Upon receiving the allegations and complaints, I called a meeting with Dr. George and provided him with these complaints and allegations. He indicated he would deal with them and provide a response. His response to me was that the former employee was jealous of others in the office and that this led him to resign. Well, I don't know what's actually happening here, but this raises an awful lot of questions about the Democratic Alliance, does it not? If these things are actually true, why in the heck is the DA putting someone like this in a position? Did they not know anything about him? He's not a 23-year-old. He has a track record. And suddenly, this is the conduct he's responsible for. I'm not saying it isn't true, but it raises an awful lot of questions. Now, what's interesting here is a source said that he goes to international trips that were not advisable, booking unnecessary expensive cars, hotels, refusing to see his ministerial house in Pretoria as it is not up to his standards, and spent huge amounts of Department of Public Works and infrastructure funds on constant unnecessary renovations. Well, if he took a dozen trips that were unadvisable, why was Andrew Whitfield let go after one trip for which he received permission from his political party to go in his personal capacity? You see, Andrew Whitfield was let go because Andrew Whitfield was talking to people in America and telling them the truth, apparently. We can't have that. But this guy apparently can take 12 unauthorized trips, or unnecessary trips. Which is it, unnecessary or unauthorized? He speaks about his colleagues, be that his DA colleagues in cabinet, in the lowest of terms in the company of many external stakeholders. He refers to them as all stupid and useless, and stating they're unqualified and they could not further their education due to their stupidity. Maybe that's why he's gone. Maybe that's why he's gone. Another source claimed that no one can influence his decisions. It was made abundantly clear that George exhibited an inability or incompetency to remain uncorrupted by power. This is extremely disappointing to bear witness to. Now, on Sunday, he told City Press that the allegations against him were utter bullshit. He said no formal charges have ever been made against him and the claims were an attempt to damage his reputation. Deputy Ministers Swartz and Sang were also contacted for comment, but only Sang responded denying they ever spoke over George in meetings. DA National Spokesperson Carballo Cajal also did not respond to calls or texts, while the federal chair, Helen Zilla, told News 24, no complaints ever reached me. So what's going on here? Is this character assassination of Dion George? Why are suddenly all these things coming out? Were people afraid? I mean, if he was so aloof and out of the office, why would people be afraid to actually say something about it? Why were no formal complaints ever registered against him? It seems awfully convenient. Now, I'm not defending the guy. I'm not saying he did or didn't do anything wrong. But it seems to me like an awful lot of pussyfooting around to damage his reputation. And it raises tremendous questions about the Democratic Alliance. What is the true reason why Dion George was sacked? What's the true reason why Andrew Whitfield was sacked and Emma Powell has been marginalized in that party? Could we have the truth on that? Is it because they didn't toe the line with John Steenhuisen? Or is it because he ran contrary to cabinet policy, which is what we thought it was, but now we're hearing all this stuff? Character assassination. Why are people leaking these things? If they have a charge to lay a charge. If they have a complaint to make a complaint. But go to the press? No. This is fishy. This one smells, it's ironic. It's appropriate that this is Department of Fisheries because this smells like rotten fish. Not saying the guy didn't do it, but if you're a whistleblower or you're a person that claims that you've seen these things, feel free to come to my program. I'll give you anonymity. We won't say who your name is. You can talk to us. But seriously, this is in bad form, bad taste. So I don't know what Dion George did or didn't do, and I don't know him from Adam, and I don't really care. What I do care about is how the Democratic Alliance handled this and how they handled Andrew Whitfield. While we have ministers in government that fail completely every single day, the Department of Agriculture is a disaster. It's an absolute disaster. 30% tariffs, the agriculture minister not in America talking to anybody trying to get these tariffs down. Foot and mouth disease rampant. The cattle industry, beef prices rising as a consequence, and all because of ineptitude in the South African government. Now, a lot of the ineptitude predates the current agriculture minister, but he's now been in office for over 14 months. And things have just gotten worse for agriculture in South Africa. If we're talking about firing people for not getting the job done, well, let's start there. What say you, South Africa? Mzansi. Cheers.